when he tried to rob a home run off the bat of Sean Murphy. It looked awkward, but certainly not as bad as what happened today. The diagnosis, a ruptured left pec. He will miss 5 to 6 months and require surgery and rehab.
Eloy Jimenez, left fielder for the Chicago White Sox, ruptured his pectoralis major muscle. That's a really interesting injury. I didn't realize that happened in baseball so much. That's kind of a fluke injury. Anyway, so the pectoralis major muscle is the muscles right here, your pec. It starts off the clavicle and the sternum and inserts on your humerus, right? So it kind of goes across like this. So that's what you build when you get swollen. Anyway, so he's got a pectoralis major rupture. That usually happens at the origin of the muscles, usually on the sternum or the clavicle, but it can happen within the muscle substance itself. Anyway, for people who are sedentary, who are not high demand, like me, this is something that's often treated non-operatively. The way you see it happen is the person will, happens to a lot of weightlifters, by the way, so it's not likely to happen to me. But what will happen is the person will feel a pop, and then there'll be you will see a cosmetic deformity, right? Because this thing has detached, it might retract a little bit, so the chest is going to look different, and the person's going to have pain. So in people who are low demand, non-sedentary, people who are low demand, elderly, sedentary, these are treated non-operatively. You just put the person in a sling and let it heal and get them back to physical therapy. For an elite athlete, a professional athlete like Jiménez, this is something that's going to be treated surgically, and they'll sew the tendon back to its attachment points, actually sew it back to suture anchors or something like that attach it, that'll help it attach it back where the origins are. Most common complications are persistent pain. That's the most common complication. They might have some decreased strength, but people can usually get back to doing what they were doing before. But he's going to be out for about 6 months at least. First for this thing to heal, and then the physical therapy to get him back to where he was. So it's I think it's a fluke injury, but he's going to be back to playing baseball. He's also right-handed, so and he tore his left pectoralis major. So if there's a decrease in strength, it's not going to affect him that much. So he'll be back to playing 6 months from now.
So on that, when he hit the wall, do you think it looked like he injured it with the hit, or injured it with his arm hanging over the top?
I think that he injured it because he was hanging from that. So and not just hanging, he jumped up there and he caught himself, and the pectoralis major was contracting while he was falling from the fence, and that's what caused that muscle to rupture, I believe. Now he did this in training camp.
I know.
That sucks. I mean, you got to admire the guy for his effort. I mean, he was playing hard even in practice, but wow, he's out.
It would have been better if he caught the home run too.
It would have been better if he caught the home run, but yeah, that's he's given it his all, even training.
So for a muscle, so it's whatever. It's like it's sewn back. It's tied back to the tendon. When can he start moving it?
Well, the key to all these surgeries, you want to get the person moving earlier. The key to getting people back to being in tip-top shape is to start having them actively get into physical therapy sooner. So early mobilization. So that's the reason you put suture anchors. When you just sewed it to the bone, you have to wait for the stuff to start healing a little bit because you don't want to tear out of the tissue. You still have to do that, but with the suture anchors that are sewed into the tendon of the muscle itself, and then the suture anchors are embedded in the bone, and then the sutures sewn through that. That gives you a little more stability, so you can start at least passively doing some range of motion exercises on that arm before the muscle is even healed, because you don't want the thing to get too stiff. But it's going to be a gradual thing, and it's, like I said, it's going to take 6 months because they're not going to do much they may not do much for a few weeks, just to allow some healing to happen, but they will get early range of motion started, and then gradually start doing resistance training, and then finally start building up that muscle. But that whole process is going to take several months, and which is why I'm saying he's going to be out for at least 5 or 6 months.
And that is 6 months, 5-6 months, like a best case scenario, or just that's pretty
Yeah,
much
5 or 6 months is best case scenario. I mean, things can happen. I mean, the repair can fail. They might have to go back and do it again. He might have. Remember, I said number one complication is persistent pain. So he could have persistent pain. But like I said, I always say in these talks we have about these athletes, these people are almost superhuman. They play through pain. So it may heal. He may be in pain, but he's been preparing for his job his entire life. Pain probably is not going to stand this guy's way of getting back.